assess everything and just take it one day at a time. I mean, that's really all we can do right now.
The place Jamie Cormier called home is gone after a fire Sunday. Her neighbor, Javante Rito, never made it out. The fire department says the 19-year-old died from smoke inhalation. That fire happened at the Ildecon apartment complex on Scottdale Street in Lafayette.
Joins us live there where a vigil for Javante is happening tonight, organized by those he was closest to. Katie.
And friends of Javante are here at the apartment where their lives were ever changed by this loss. We know the fire started in the bottom unit and traveled to the second story. Only one apartment on that floor had a family living inside. Both families tell me they did not have smoke detectors or fire extinguishers. We wanted to know if landlords are required to provide those items. So I found out those answers, and here is the information you need to know.
The only reason I had one in my apartment is because my boyfriend, whenever I moved in, installed one for me because he was like, oh no, this isn't gonna fly. So he installed one for me by the kitchen, and that's the only reason why I had one in there. But fire extinguishers, there was none.
Cormier says she contacted the owner of the building, Champs Realty, for a smoke detector when she moved in, but they did not respond to her. We tried to get in touch with them as well. We went to the address listed for the company. The secretary said the owner would call me back, but we never got that call.
A few times when I had called the office that, there was no smoke detectors in there, there's no fire extinguisher, like that's a hazard. I have a kid in here, like I need these things, just to feel safe. And we'll let you know, we'll get back to you, and nothing.
Lafayette Parish follows International Property Maintenance Code, which states all buildings that house people should have at least a basic fire alarm. Randy Viator with Lafayette Consolidated Government says there is an exception depending on the year the building was built, is how many smoke alarms should be installed by the owner of the building.
They only needed one smoke alarm, and it would be like the common area, the hall. Now the codes were upgraded. So like now you need 3, or 1 per bedroom.
However, there are no rules in place requiring fire extinguishers.
Not as far as residential. Now we recommend you have a fire extinguisher, but the main thing is have a smoke alarm so the tenants can get out.
For now, Cormier continues to move, thankful she and her daughter were not home at the time of the fire, but saddened by the loss of Javante Rito.
I know that the amount of smoke in there, it was just bad because everything is just covered in soot. Just a black layer over everything in the whole entire apartment.
KTC also sorted through calls made to the Scott Fire Department from the Ildecon apartment complex. And with those records we found in the last 5 years, 150 calls were made. 4 of those calls came here from the Scottsdale in the 500 block, some for fires, excessive heat, and burn marks, but with no flames. Live in Lafayette, Kate Easter, KTC TV3.
Well, we wanted to know, what are the rights of a tenant if the rental property is not up to code? According to the building inspector we spoke with, you can file a complaint with LCG if you're in Lafayette. A citation is then given, and the owner has 90 days to take care of the issue. Randy Viator says his office currently has more than 700 cases against landlords across the parish, for renting out buildings that are not up to code. We filed a public records request for the building where Rito died. According to those reports, there are no complaints or violations filed against the owner or at that address. If you or someone you know is in need of help, here are several steps you can take to file a complaint on the codes violation in Lafayette Parish. You can call the number you see there on your screen. If your landlord is not responsive to maintenance issues, you can file a complaint through the Attorney General's office. And lastly, if you are in need of smoke detectors, you can contact the Fire Prevention Office or the State Fire Marshal's office.